Hey besties, welcome or welcome back. My name's Charlotte if you are new here. Today we're tackling a 24-hour readathon, but I think I'm gonna split it over what I know I'm gonna split. I have not read for 24 hours. Like I'm not doing a 24-hour straight readathon. We're gonna split it over a couple of days, 2 or 3. I want to finish it by Sunday. That is the goal. It is Friday today. So as you will have seen, I have already started reading for today. We have 22 hours, 20 minutes and 40 seconds left. And we have started this readathon with Foxglove by Adeline Grace. So I actually read like 15 pages before bed last night and then I like crashed out. And that wasn't part of the readathon time. I finished Wild Eyes and I need to read before bed. So I was like, we'll just dive straight into Foxglove. So far I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did Belladonna, purely because Belladonna I went into it very blind. I didn't know what to expect. If you haven't read these books, there is kind of like a mystery element to them. So they are a gothic fantasy. We follow Signa, who has basically been passed from guardian to guardian because everyone keeps dying. So we have kind of a fantasy element as well, with death playing a role and being like a real character in these books, like as a being, like kind of the Grim Reaper. So in Belladonna we follow Signa go to Thorncliffe? Thorngrove. Thorncliffe is from... Anyway, does not matter. So she goes to Thorngrove and she ends up basically having to solve some mysteries while she is there. So I didn't realise the mystery part kind of was a part of it. I don't think the mystery is necessarily on the blurb. Oh, so it does say on the back, but I went into it very blind and I didn't realise how much of like the murder mystery side was going to be in the plot. However, going into Foxglove, I knew kind of from how Belladonna ends that this mystery side is going to continue, and I went into that expecting it a lot more, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't picked it up until now. Was one, I wanted atmospheric weather. It is great, it is raining, it is misty, it is gothic fantasy season. So that was one of the reasons why I just wanted to wait a little bit longer to reading it. And I feel like because I'm fully in the mood for what I know the book to be, I am enjoying it a lot more. I find it really gripping. Like, for me to be able to sit down and read 100 pages like first thing in the morning, like, is a struggle. Like, yes, I got up and had some toast and a coffee before I started reading, but still. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna go sit probably downstairs now and just carry on reading this and actually get a second breakfast because I'm pretty hungry, because toast just does not do it. But yeah, today's plan is basically to try and read all of Foxglove. There's a couple of things I need to sit down and write a to-do list actually, because there's some things outside of the reading challenge that I want to get on with or that I need to achieve today. So I'm going to make sure that I have a list of those so I don't get too distracted. So I'm hoping to at least get 8 hours of reading in today. Obviously we have done an hour and 40 minutes and it's 10 AM. So I think that should be doable. I don't know. I'm hoping it's doable. I mean, we've got more than 8 hours left in the day, so we will see. We'll do our best. Okay, it's time for an update. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I've only read for 4 hours today and it's literally 4 PM. I don't know how, because obviously I'd already read for 2 hours when I started like the talking part. So I don't know how I've only managed 2 hours from like 9 AM. That's why I like really struggle with these videos, because I find it so hard to just sit and read for like all day. Like, I've never read a book in one go because I can't sit still for that long. But I am making really good progress with Foxglove. So as I said, we're 4 hours in and I'm halfway through Foxglove now. Again, still really enjoying it. I find these books really hard to talk about because like not really much has happened. Like, considering we're halfway through, not a lot has happened, but also like it does feel like it's moving fairly quickly. I don't know. There's some of the mysteries that were left unsolved by certain characters in Belladonna are now being picked up on, so that is interesting. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I am enjoying it more than Belladonna as well. I still find the whole like relationship with Death a little bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. Like, more in the sense that I can't mentally picture Death, like, because sometimes he's described as shadow, sometimes like there is a person, so when they're describing certain things that are going on, I'm like, how is it, like, logistics, what's happening here? Like, there was something that they said about his knee and I was like, does he have a knee? I thought he was just shadows. So I don't know if that's my own bad for like not reading properly, but yeah, I think now I can't decide if I want to go outside for a walk or if I just want to go on my walking pad and read whilst I'm on it. I don't really want to lose reading time, so I think I'm going to go on the walking pad. We'll put some shorts on because it's quite warm. Go on the walking pad and read for like hopefully like an hour maybe, or at least 45 minutes, and then go for a shorter walk later maybe. So yeah, we're going to go and read basically whilst walking, hopefully. Not sure how well that's going to work with a hardback. We're going to give it a go though. Okay, so update time. I finished Foxglove in 7 hours and 45 minutes yesterday, so I ended up reading for 7 hours 45 minutes, which is very good. Really enjoyed this. Like, it was everything that I wanted it to be. I think it really gave me like the mystery. I was shocked by everything that happened. I will say check the trigger warnings in this book. There isn't trigger warnings like in the front, which I think is kind of disappointing, considering like, yes, in a way it would be a minor spoiler to have that, like the trigger warnings, but I also think it's really important considering what the triggers could be for people. If you're interested in this, check the trigger warnings. The things that are like could be considered triggering in this aren't plots in Belladonna, so even if you've read Belladonna, definitely still look them up for this. But yeah, really enjoyed it. I'm still thinking about the star rating, so I'll do like a full wrap up once we've read all of the books. This morning I picked up 5 Broken Blades, and I think I might do a soft DNF on it. I'm 30 pages in, so I'm not far in at all, but this is basically an art copy. I don't have an actual blurb for it. I don't think I was ever given a blurb for it by the publisher, and I didn't realise what it was actually about. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fully realise what it was about because the only information I have is like a trigger warning basically. So not ideal. And then yeah, I started reading it and I was like, this doesn't make any sense, and I'm really confused because it was really short chapters, constantly changing POVs, and yeah, like, and then it got to a point where it kind of like revealed what it's about. So it is about assassins who, well, where I'm up to right now, only one of them has the task of killing the king, and honestly that's just not the kind of fantasy that I'm in the mood for. Like, I'm not in the mood for like cozy fantasy necessarily. I'm more in the mood for like something with like dragons in. I'm thinking I might pick up One Dark Window, which I know is not a dragon based fantasy, but it's like a gothic fantasy again, and I really enjoyed the gothic vibes in Foxglove. And the only like dragony ones that I have on my TBR are A Day of Fallen Night, and and obviously the Prayer of the Orange Tree. And like, guys, this is gonna take me so long to read. I can't commit to it. I need to read more fantasy before I go into something like that, because that's like epic high fantasy, and I just don't think I can do that right now. But yeah, I think for the time being, Five Broken Blades isn't for me. As I said, I think I might try One Dark Window. The other one I was thinking of is The Invisible Life of Ali LaRue. But again, like, it's not fantasy. I don't think, like, I am in the mood for a fantasy, like something cozy. I also have Swordcatcher, but again, not giving the vibes from the description. And then the other book that was on my TBR is If We Were Villains. I'm not in the mood for that. So I think it's One Dark Window. Or I have Warstorm. But again, it's just chunky. I'm not in the mood for like a big thick book. When I'm doing 24-hour reading challenges, I prefer to do shorter books, because you are just reading so much that it feels nicer in a way when you're finishing more books, rather than like when it's just like a reading vlog. Then I prefer it, because also like if I pick up a book like Warstorm, I don't think I'd finish that. I have 15 hours and 33 minutes left. I actually don't think I'd finish Warstorm in that time. I know for a fact that I wouldn't finish A Day of Fallen Night in that time. So it's like, you're not, I don't know, like I want to be reading more books so I can tell you guys about the books. So yeah, I think we're going to try One Dark Window. I'm going to read the blurb of it and then decide. Please excuse the way I'm looking. I've just taken my hair out of my slick bun because, you know, when it starts to hurt your head, and I need to go and wash it now. But bit of an update, because I haven't actually spoken really today. I have barely read today. This happened last time I did a 24-hour readathon as well, when I read so much one day and then the next day, like, I just can't, like, my concentration isn't there. And I always found it, like, at uni as well, if I had, or even like work wise, if I've had a really productive day and got like loads done, the next day I actually just cannot concentrate and cannot focus, and that is the day I'm having. So I am reading One Dark Window, and I am honestly really enjoying it. Like, I'm finding it quite interesting. It's very different to anything I've ever read before. Obviously I was a little bit worried about reading Foxglove and then going into this, because they're both considered like gothic fantasies, but they're so different. And I'm 100 pages in, so I'm 25% of the way through, and yeah, like, I'm enjoying it, but I just cannot stay focused. Earlier I was literally falling asleep, like, I don't know what it is. So I think I'm gonna try and get to, I want to try and read for a few more hours, so I'm at an amount that I can just finish tomorrow, because on Monday, like, I do actually have things to do, like, back in life, you know what I mean? So yeah, but I am enjoying it. I'm just struggling with like actually reading. Like, my mind is all over the place, but I know it's not the book, because I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying the story, and I come to the end of a chapter and I'm like, oh, I want to carry on reading. Then I get a few pages in and I'm like, my mind is all elsewhere. I feel like even the way I'm talking so quickly right now. like, it's just, yeah, I think I'm gonna go wash my hair and have a shower, because that's all I can think about, and then we will just try and get a few more hours in.
Please excuse my hair because I'm not too sure what's happening with it. I did heat the scales last night and I think the way they're falling out is just not it. But we're gonna just carry on. I have 9 hours and 16 minutes left of reading. I've actually read a lot this morning. I can't remember what time we started on. I think I took a screenshot of it last night when I went to sleep because I'm always so scared the time is just gonna delete in the night. Okay, so we were like just short of 12 hours last night. So yeah, I've read for like 3 hours already today, which is pretty much like, I only read for like 4 hours yesterday, so we're already kind of off to a better start. I'm 75% of the way through One Dark Window. I am absolutely loving this. I think this is quickly becoming like my all-time favorite fantasy potentially. I absolutely love the world that this is set in. I love the magic system. So the magic system is really strange and very confusing, and I definitely found it hard at the start when they were like explaining the magic system and like building the world, because I haven't actually read a fantasy that's required like a lot of world building for a while now. Like Powerless I did a reread of and then went into Reckless, but I feel like there's not actually a huge amount of world building in that. Like, it's a very simple world with very simple magic system. Then I read Red Queen, again, really simple magic system. Kind of whole point of that is the fact that the Reds are less educated, so like the magic system you learn or the world you learn with the character through the book, because she only knows what she was taught in school, which as she's a Red it isn't a lot. Belladonna and Foxglove, there's not like a huge amount of world building because it kind of is just on Earth and it's more paranormal than fantasy, I'd say, like with ghosts and spirits and things like that. So yeah, I haven't read a fantasy with like this level of world building probably since last year, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I find it so interesting. So the magic, there's kind of a few systems of magic. So there's an illness that you can get which will infect you, and you get that from the mist, I think. I'm a little bit confused on some parts of it, but I think you get the illness through the mist and then you have magic, but like it's not like allowed magic. Then there's also magic from playing cards, which is the main kind of form of magic, and each card has like different powers. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't think the blurb really tells you too much, so I don't want to go into too much of a detail about it. But yeah, so far so good, really enjoying it. I think I have like an hour and a half left, so I'm going to set a timer on my phone now on Forest, so I can't go on it, and then we're going to finish it, and I'm really excited to finish it because I want to see what happens. I don't think I'll go into book 2 in this video. I want to read something that has an audiobook next so I can get on with some other tasks today, but also I want to finish the timer today. I want to read for that 9 hours. It's saying that if I just completely read, I'll finish at 8:20. So we've got like a bit of wiggle room, but that's also why I want the audiobook, so that I can just kind of listen to it and it'll be calm. And for that, I'm going to read Legendary, the second book in the Caravel series, as I found an audiobook. Basically, if you don't know, sometimes people upload audiobooks and podcasts on Spotify. They don't normally stay around for too long, but really good way of accessing free audiobooks. Obviously, if you don't mind that it could, one, disappear at any time. I only ever do it when I have the physical copy of a book, because then I'm like, okay, I'm reading it on my Kindle, or like I've brought up the book, because then I feel a little bit less bad about it, because I know that it is a little bit shady and that I probably shouldn't be doing it. But yeah, I found an audio of Legendary, so I think I will listen to that, and I'll probably start by reading and listening at the same time, and then just because I find that I always have to get into the book and get into the audiobook, and then I will be able to kind of get on with my day, go for a walk. I need to plan my week out, plan some videos, because I'm going to try and go to uploading twice a week on YouTube again, because I just love making YouTube videos and editing. So yeah, anyway, I need to get on and read, otherwise I'm going to run out of time.
If you run with me, I gotta work for the both of us. I'll put you in the driver's seat, don't gotta hurry in the love. When you ride with me, don't gotta worry when tomorrow comes. I'll put you in the driver's seat, don't gotta hurry now, cause we stay in control in the name of love.
so I have just finished One Dark Window. Oh my god, the ending was not what I was expecting at all. I was kind of getting towards the end and I was like, okay, what even is book 2 gonna be? Like, is book 2 basically just gonna be a continuation of book 1, and like, why couldn't we have just got that all in one book? And then I got to the end, ow, oh my god, I've literally just like poked myself in the eye. Anyway, then I got to the end and I was like, oh, book 2 is gonna go crazy. So very excited about that. But I know earlier I said that I thought I was going to read Caraval. I need a romance and I need it in audio form. Like, I need to be able to listen to something for a bit, I think. My brain could not take going into another fantasy right now. I think I want to do a quick romance and then I will probably then pick up 2 Twisted Crowns, I'm not gonna lie, because I just need to know. So I am going to sort my Libby out and then basically just take a look at what audios are available and see if there's any that are also either on Kindle Unlimited or my TBR, or like anything that's below like £3 on Kindle, because that's like my preferred. I like to have a book and also the audio. But yeah, I'm gonna sort that out and have a look now, because my brain actually does feel like mush. I definitely need like a little bit of a break from reading for a bit. But we have 7 hours and 49 minutes left. So if I was to start reading now and not take any breaks at all, I would finish at 20:42. So like 20 to 9. So yeah, we need to get going, because I don't want that to get past like midnight really. I think that's probably the latest I can actually stay up, because the past few nights I've been like, oh, I'll just stay up late reading, I'll stay up late reading. It gets to 11 and I just KO. So yeah, we need to sort this Libby out now.
Chapter 1. The Coven was here.
Okay, updates. So I have been listening to Hex in the City. I'm really enjoying it. Also very glad I'm reading it as an audiobook, because I am 1 hour and 35 minutes in and I'm only halfway through chapter 3. The chapters are like over half an hour long, even with it being on 1.5 times speed. It's very strange. But yeah, really enjoying it, and as I said, glad that I'm listening to an audiobook. I did download it on my Kindle. It was 99p, but I started to like read it whilst listening to the audiobook and I was like, nah, my brain is actual mush. So yeah, glad that we've got the audiobook option. I knew it was going to be needed. So I've got 6 hours and 46 minutes left. I did just stop it because I had to film the intro and outro of another video. So it's saying it's going to be, I'll finish at 21:47. So we're edging closer and closer to not finishing today. But I think I'm gonna go for a walk now, like a longer walk. It's like 3 o'clock, and basically listen to the book. My brain is not working. I'm editing the clips I just filmed for that other video. Gonna be fun. I feel like nothing I was saying made any sense. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk now. It's a really nice day out, which is why I want to go for a walk rather than just go on my walking pad. So again, glad that I've got the audiobook, as I've said about 50 times in this one clip. Yeah, I'm gonna audiobook, walk, and yeah, my brain isn't working at all. Okay, so I am still listening to Hex in the City. I am 49% of the way through. I think I've got about 5 hours left, but I've got 4 hours 26 minutes left of the readathon, which is exciting. I've just been listening to the audiobook whilst kind of just doing tasks. So I've like planned my week, planned content for the next 2 months with like 2 uploads, eating dinner. Like, I've just been doing tasks whilst listening, and it's been a really easy audiobook to like crack on and do things with. Please excuse my dead flowers, I need to sort those out tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a really easy like thing to listen to whilst doing things, because so much has happened. Like I don't understand.
That was Hex in the City by Kate Johnson. Read by Catherine Woodloo.
Absolutely excuse the state of me. We've got a spot sticker on, we've got heelless cows in.
I have just finished Hex and the City. Really enjoyed it. Gonna sit on my rating, but guys, we still have an hour and a half left of reading to do. This is the same thing I had last time I did one of these videos, is that I end up with like too short of an amount of time for a book. So we're gonna start a book together and then you'll get my thoughts on it in my September wrap up. I had to think about what month it was then. I think I want to start something short. So I think my options, well, I got Norigo's Off Script from a library. I think I'm gonna just read that because it's short enough that I should be able to finish it pretty quickly. Because I have like other videos and stuff to film, guys. So I need something that I can finish, like that's not gonna interrupt my whole reading week, because there's a lot that I need to film this week. I need to decompress after finishing Hex and the City because I really don't know what my thoughts were on that book. It was it was so wild. Like, we started off on one plot and I thought that plot was going to take us the whole book. And then so much happened. Such like random things. Yeah. I need to think about it.
The 24 hours is done. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I find these videos so hard to film. I find the time crunch. I'm gonna flip this way because I realized I keep talking into the viewfinder and I've been editing a different video and I can see I just keep I'm doing it now. So we're gonna flip that away so I actually look at the camera. But yeah, I love filming these videos so much, but I find the pressure of the time, it's a struggle. But yeah, we are done and I'm actually really happy with the reading I've done and I'm not feeling slumpy. Like, picking up a book this morning, I was like, this feels good. So that is always the goal. But yes, we finished the final hour this morning. I just could not stay up for another hour last night. I was falling asleep. I was like, if I try and read, then I am not going to take any of this in, and that is never the goal. So let's round up on the books that we read in this readathon. So we made it through 3 books, 2 fantasies and 1, I don't even know what you would describe Hex and the City as. Like, I don't know if they count as like a paranormal romance maybe, because we'll talk about Hex and the City first. Okay, I don't have like a proper rating of this just now. I'm thinking a 3.75. I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't, it was so all over the place. Like, I don't know, and I didn't feel the connection between the couples. The romance felt like too heavy for what was going on, which I didn't particularly like. I would have much preferred if this book was set more as like a witchy fiction. So maybe like a paranormal, I don't really know. I don't know what witch books are like classed as. Maybe I would have preferred it if it was more like a fantasy in the modern day. Like, I don't know, just a witch book, basically, that still had the plot points, and then the romance that happens was more of a like background. It was like a subplot rather than like the book being a witchy romance, because the romance just wasn't strong enough and it was just strange. Like, some of the character things that happened were just really bizarre with the romance and like the MMC, and I just didn't really like get the vibes. Like, the whole kind of thing with the MMC is that he's meant to be like a womanator, is like the phrase. Like, he's meant to be, I don't know, like a mansler, and he then all of a sudden, like by the end, and you don't see any like character transformation that leads him to be that. Like, there's no romantic challenges per se. All of the challenges they face are witchy challenges, and they aren't even challenges to the couple. Like, it's bizarre. But yeah, I found it enjoyable. I found it good as like a breakup from the fantasy, where I said this about the 7-year slip before as well, where where they have like this magic aspect, but you're like kind of in a contemporary setting. They break up fantasy really well because they take you far enough out of like the fantasy story you've been in, but they keep you in that world where like everything is magical and you like really believe in that element. I think they're really good escapism books in that way. There were some like cringe moments, like they started talking about making TikToks, which there's something about that always makes me cringe in a book, and I don't know why. It obviously just really like sets it in a time period. But yeah, I think like a 3.75 is a good rating, mainly just because of the romance. I loved the plot. I loved kind of how everything happened and the discovery that Poppy, our FMC has. I didn't read the blurb for this book, so I don't really know how much I can talk about in terms of like the actual plot, but it is about Poppy, who is a witch, and she works in kind of like a witch shop in Covent Garden, but obviously like it's not a real witch shop, it's more like I don't know, like a tourist kind of trap shop. So she works there. She is obviously a witch, she has magical hair. That's Poppy. And then we have Alex, who is a magician, but like not a real magician, like an illusionist. Like he not like the Atlas Six, he's not a magician with actual magic, he's like a stage magician. Because I thought, like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that he was gonna also have magical powers and it was gonna be like this cross between a witch and a magician, but it was not that. And yeah, he's meant to be kind of like this quite vain guy, and they basically have this crossover over a pendant that Poppy has cursed, and that's kind of what brings them together. That's how they have their meet cute, and kind of we then see what transpires from there basically. But yeah, as I said, I think it was like a 3.75. As you have seen, I listened to the audiobook and I did like the audiobook. It was narrated by just one person, but you did get both POVs. Something I wasn't sure of as well is that you got both POVs but like in the same chapter, and it was written in third person, so it would be going along and it would be like Poppy did da 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 da, she was thinking da, and then you'd get like a break, he was thinking, and it was so confusing. And then in some chapters like you didn't even get the break, like it was just going back and forth. Like if they were together you'd be like Poppy thought this was their interaction, Alex thought this. Like it got a bit strange, especially reading to it, and the accents and stuff were cracking me up. But yeah, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Okay, so then going to the book that we read before then, we had One Dark Window. I absolutely loved this. I think I'm rating it a 4.5, potentially 4.75. I really enjoyed it and I'm so glad I did, because this has been an anticipated read for me since like I remember seeing it in people when I first got into like booktube last year, like watching it. I remember seeing it in people's like TBR videos for like autumn and really wanting to read it but just never picking it up, and then seeing it on Kindle Unlimited and I was like, okay, now is the time. My dog's barking. So yeah, it was anticipated, like very, very anticipated, and I loved it. I thought it was so clever. I loved the magic system in the book. I found it quite hard to get into at first, like I was falling asleep whilst reading it, but I don't know what that was. I think it was just like afternoon slump vibes rather than anything to do with the book itself, because then once I really got into it, I was into it. I found the romance element to the book worked really well. I found that really clever. I found kind of what we were learning, because we were learning things as the character was learning them, which is one of my favourite things that happens in a book. I just loved it. It was everything that I love in a fantasy, honestly. Elspeth has a nightmare living in her head which she acquired after she caught the infection. They just refer to it as the infection from the mist. The mist is magical, sent from a spirit in the woods. And in this world you're not allowed to be infected. Kind of similar to Powerless actually, by Lauren Roberts, where if you have the infection, obviously in this it's if you're normal, you are like sentenced to death, and everyone that has, well, you are taken to the castle, and everyone that has basically like, what's the word? Like your family, for example, if they have like been hiding you, they are sentenced to death. They have to go and walk in the mist and it will kill them. So yeah, really interesting. There's so much that transpires throughout the book. So many twists and turns, and honestly the final twist I was not expecting at all. And well, I wasn't expecting it to be in book 1 because this is a duology, and yeah, so good. I'm really excited to read book 2. I read it on Kindle Unlimited obviously, so I will be buying those physical copies. 100%. I need them. I need to hold those books. So yeah, really enjoyed it and cannot wait to get into book 2. But obviously before that, we did pick up 5 Broken Blades for 30 pages, which is where my bookmark is. I was looking for this, and I did DNF for now. I'm saying for now because I think potentially I could end up enjoying it. I don't know, it's the reason I can't quite give Six of Crows a go as well. Like there's something about like the assassin, the quest, the heist, where I'm not quite into it, but then I'm like, I want to read Throne of Glass, and I'm pretty sure Throne of Glass is about an assassin. So I don't know if maybe it's one of those where I read Throne of Glass and then I'm going to want to read every assassin fantasy. I don't really know. But yeah, it just wasn't what I wanted at that time. I think I had in my head that I did want to read One Dark Window, but I just was nervous about picking up knowing that I had just come from the gothic fantasy that is Foxglove. And honestly, the vibe between these 2 books is so different. I know that because they're the only 2 books that I personally know as gothic fantasies that I've had like suggested to me, that I've seen kind of like in more like the mainstream book places. So because of that, I was really worried that they would be similar, but they are not similar at all. Foxglove is much more of a mystery than a fantasy, in my opinion. There's magical elements to it. The magical elements being that obviously we have the character of Death, and in this we have the character of Fate, and there is like magic around that. The setting of these is, I found the setting of Foxglove and Belladonna a lot more gothic than necessarily the setting of One Dark Window. The setting of One Dark Window to me was just like more typical fantasy. Obviously the mist makes it very dark and gothic feeling, but I would say that like as a fantasy it's almost quite similar to like the ACOTAR kind of setting. That's kind of, I envisioned the worlds being quite similar in my head. But anyway, Foxglove. So this was the first book that I've read, and I have rated this 4.5 stars as well. I absolutely love this compared to Belladonna, and I do think it is because I went into this knowing that we were going to basically be solving a murder mystery. Like these books are murder mystery books in like a gothic setting, and you also have like that fantasy element, and I think going into that knowing that a little bit more made it way more enjoyable for me. I found it really interesting. We got a POV of a different character in this book, and I really liked that. I will say with this, I'm not like, so you know sometimes you're reading a series and you finish it. A fantastic example of this is The Ballad of Never After. I finished this, I was like, I absolutely need The Curse of True Love, and I had to wait for it and it was so hard. Powerless as well, finished it, I was like, I need the next one. Reckless, finished that, needed the next one. Whereas with this, I've not ordered Wisteria yet, basically. I kind of had a browse in a bookshop today, and it wasn't even the first book that was on my mind. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't like, I moved on from it quickly, basically. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I much preferred it to that over Belladonna. And yeah, as a whole, I'm really... Oh, and then the final book that I went on to reading, but I haven't finished. Sorry, I've done this in such a jumbled order. So I've read like 78 pages, I think, of Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. I actually picked that up on at my library on Saturday. I had to go to the library to sort my Libby out, and I saw that, and there's been a couple Annabelle Monaghan books that I've wanted to pick up, but they seem to be really hard to get hold of in the UK. And I saw that in the library and I was like, oh, I need to read that, because I've heard Destiny talk about that one quite a bit. Maybe Sarah has as well. Definitely Dest has. And I was like, oh, I remember she really rated that. So I picked it up, and so far I'm really enjoying it. It feels like a mature Emily Henry. Obviously Emily Henry writes more characters that are similar age to her, whereas Nora in Nora Goes Off Script is slightly older. Like she's got 2 kids, I think they're in elementary school or middle school, so it's that kind of age range, but it feels similar. It feels Emily Henry-esque, where you've really got that character development. you only get like the female main character's POV, like that kind of style. But obviously don't want to talk about that too much because I'm like barely into it. But yeah, I think that rounds everything up. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously 24-hour readathons are crazy things. I do wish that I was able to get through more books, but obviously I think just with doing fantasies, like it's a lot harder to get through more. I would say I'm a relatively slow reader as well compared to other creators. Obviously don't compare to me necessarily, but like there's a few creators that are just super speedy and will get through like so many books in these videos, like Destiny, Emmy. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I'm definitely gonna try and plan to do another one before the end of the year. I have a week off at the end of November, so I think I might try and do one then because it just works better when I have like the time off, I think. But yeah, that rounds this video up. So I'm gonna stop now because otherwise I will just keep waffling on. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.